Have you ever truly pictured what existence felt like inside Noah's Ark once the massive door was sealed shut? At that instant, it stopped being merely a wooden vessel. It transformed into the harshest surviving environment on Earth, a floating, self-contained world holding every kind of land and air creature. Thousands upon thousands of animals, representing a vast array of species, were packed together in tight quarters. Predators and their natural prey were kept apart only by sturdy partitions. The interior was shrouded in near-constant darkness, the air thick with humidity and the heavy scent of living things. Sounds never ceased: the creaking of timber, the shifting of bodies, the calls and movements of creatures large and small. There was no map, no visible endpoint, no human hand steering the course. The Ark had not been engineered to slice through waves like a conventional ship. Its sole purpose was to endure them. From the moment the door closed by divine command, the vessel entered a mode of relentless operation. No room existed for improvisation or mid-journey fixes. Every system, structural, logistical, biological, had to perform flawlessly day after day under punishing conditions. A single overlooked flaw could cascade into disaster, and in such isolation, disaster meant irreversible loss. The external flood was only part of the threat. The real danger lay in the internal dynamics. The Ark rocked continuously with the unpredictable surges of water. Tilting, slamming, shifting balance, none of it could be anticipated or halted from within. For months, nothing inside experienced true stillness. Loose items turned into projectiles. Uneven weight distribution threatened capsizing. Small, repeated motions accumulated into structural fatigue. Survival demanded absolute stability. Every object had to be secured. Every load had to be balanced with precision. Even minor instability, repeated endlessly, could erode safety. The greatest priority was preventing the interior from becoming its own worst enemy before hunger, thirst, disease, or exhaustion could even take hold. Yet the most volatile element was not the wood or the water, but the living cargo itself. Thousands of creatures, some tiny and delicate, others massive and fierce, were forced into prolonged confinement. Stress from darkness, motion, noise, and the unnatural closeness of incompatible species could trigger panic, aggression, or mass injury. A single outburst in one section might ripple outward, igniting chaos across compartments and endangering the entire system. The biblical account emphasizes compartments, deliberate divisions, not open spaces. This separation was essential for control. It limited movement, reduced energy expenditure, curbed aggression, and minimized waste production. Less movement meant less food consumed, less waste generated, and fewer chances for conflict or disease to spread. Remarkably, the animals entered voluntarily, guided to Noah without the trauma of forced capture. This avoided the most dangerous phase of handling wild creatures. Once inside, the focus shifted to sustaining order and function. No domestication was required, only the maintenance of a fragile equilibrium. Feeding presented another monumental task. All provisions had already been loaded before the door shut. No miracles replenished stocks afterward. Food had to be calculated meticulously, stored to resist spoilage in high humidity, and distributed without sparking competition or waste. Mold, rot, or uneven access could collapse the food chain in days. 8 people, only 8, managed this colossal operation daily, feeding, observing, cleaning, repairing. Their bodies could not endure heroic effort indefinitely. The routine had to be sustainable, efficient, repeatable. Physical survival hinged on smart systems, not endless labor. Waste management posed an even deadlier challenge. Urine, feces, and gases accumulated relentlessly. Without control, ammonia and toxins would poison the air, breed parasites, and spread infection. Constant manual removal by so few hands was impossible. The design relied on gravity, motion, and strategic sloping to channel waste away naturally, turning the environment itself into an ally against buildup. Air quality became another silent, relentless adversary. Thousands of breathing creatures generated heat, moisture, carbon dioxide, and various gases. In a sealed space, these built up gradually. Oxygen levels dropped in lower areas, stale air pooled, heavier gases lingered in corners. The threat was not sudden suffocation, but slow deterioration. Lethargy, loss of appetite, illness spreading unnoticed until too late. The biblical description includes one small but vital feature, an opening at the top. This was no decorative skylight. Hot, humid air naturally rises. Finding an exit, it escapes and pulls cooler, fresher air in from below. This created passive, continuous ventilation. No pumps, no constant human intervention. The Ark had to breathe on its own, or every other system would fail. Thermal regulation was equally critical. Excess heat could inflame aggression, spike water needs, accelerate exhaustion. The interplay of incoming cool air, outgoing warm air, controlled humidity, and protection from external water had to remain in delicate balance. A breakdown here would trigger internal collapse long before the floodwaters receded. Even with food, waste, and air managed, physical endurance only addressed half the ordeal. The deeper challenge was psychological. 8 individuals, Noah, his wife, their 3 sons, and their wives, endured more than a year in unchanging darkness, ceaseless motion, unremitting noise, and suffocating closeness. No horizon, no fresh breeze, no option to step outside. God himself had shut the door. There was no turning back, no abort mission. Prolonged isolation breeds known effects. Monotony erodes the spirit. Constant sound frays nerves. Lack of personal space breeds tension. Silence becomes a distant memory. Unresolved friction would resurface daily. Survival demanded more than muscle. It required mental resilience, structure, and discipline. Routine became their anchor. Tasks followed fixed schedules. Responsibilities were clearly divided. Roles remained firm even when fatigue set in. Without predictable order, exhaustion would breed mistakes. Mistakes would cascade into crises, and crises in a closed system threatened total failure. Leadership was non-negotiable. Noah is described as walking with God, not merely a spiritual note, but a practical reality. In extreme conditions, stable authority prevents fragmentation. Decisions must be followed. Unity must hold when emotions fray. Without it, effort splinters, conflicts multiply, and efficiency crumbles. Leadership here was not prestige, it was survival infrastructure. Time itself proved the cruelest test. No one knew the duration. Days blurred into weeks, weeks into months, each stretch testing hope. Living without an end date turns endurance into a profound trial of faith and patience. Eventually, the rocking ceased. The Ark came to rest. But safety did not arrive with stillness. The world outside had been remade, soil scoured, vegetation erased, ecosystems shattered. Emerging too early meant starvation or exposure. Lingering too long risked depleting reserves. Noah acted methodically, not impulsively. He sent out a raven, which flew and returned, signaling land existed but no resting place. Then a dove, which returned quickly, still no viable ground. More days passed. Another dove returned with an olive leaf, proof that plants were regenerating. Still he waited. Finally, the dove did not return. Life outside had stabilized. Only then did the door open. Animals exited in orderly fashion, species by species. The internal discipline held until the very end. No rush, no panic. The Ark's true accomplishment was not floating through the deluge, but functioning perfectly through every grueling day, from sealed door to safe release. Nothing relied on luck or last-minute fixes. Order under pressure, discipline amid strain, obedience in uncertainty, these preserved life. Yet the story transcends biology. The Ark did not merely save bodies, it forged character.
The same virtues that sustained them inside, patience, structure, trust, and leadership, equipped them to rebuild outside. In that extreme crucible, people were prepared not just to survive catastrophe, but to begin the world anew. The deepest question is not how they endured inside the ark, it is what the experience transformed within them so that humanity could start again.